Hey everyone, welcome back to Bear's Workshop. We are here for our 131st flyover of the Lucid factory, and welcome everybody. As you can see by the thumbnail, we had some issues today, which we'll go over in a minute. We're going to give everyone a couple minutes to get on, and in the meantime, quickly touch on the comments real quick. I see got a couple people on talking about seeing different cars and around, and someone was talking about they've seen several Lucids in Orange County, California. I believe it was C. Martinez. He said he's seen three of them. Seen three Lucids. JJS. Has anyone seen any Nicholas? I've seen Nicholas on the road away from the factory because they're testing them up and down I-10. I've seen them a couple of times, so that's been pretty surprising and interesting, but I have seen them in the wild. I also saw one by my house, literally like 4 miles from my house, which is, I'm 50 miles from the site, and it was on not a major road, just driving around. So that was weird also. So I've seen Nicholas on the road. I have yet to see a Lucid on the road that's not coming from the factory. But other people have, and they're delivering them today. And Lucid Air says he saw 13 of them today in Scottsdale. I believe they had a meet, and he had posted that up. Yep, there he goes. At the Lucid Owners Arizona meetup today in Scottsdale, 13 all at once. Someone was talking about Rivians. I've seen several Rivians, probably four or five. And today, on our way back from the Lucid factory, after I picked up Riley after the Challenger died, we saw a Rivian van for Amazon, all marked up Amazon. We took a video of it. We're going to post it out in a day or two, probably out on Twitter. So, in Polestars, besides having one and seeing that one all the time, I've seen plenty on the road. I've probably seen no less than 10 here in Arizona, which is really surprising. But they seem to be all over Arizona for whatever reason. So, just kind of interesting. You guys can throw out there in the chat which cars you've seen and how many. It's interesting that I've seen so many more Rivians than I've seen Lucids, just because you still think there would be some around here. And I'm not counting the Lucid that was rented and I drove, because that was an intentional meetup of a Lucid. And Lucinaire says, go Amazon. Yeah, with that Prime truck. And it was in Queen Creek, Arizona. It wasn't like in a major metropolitan area. Queen Creek is part of the suburbs of Phoenix, but it's about 35 miles away from Phoenix when it comes down to it. And Lucid says he's seen one Rivian. And William Minehan says, upstate New York, I'm only seeing Teslas. I believe that. Upstate New York, depending on where you're at, a lot of it's very rural, and you're not going to see, or suburb or whatever, you're not going to see a lot of farm country, a lot of open areas. It's nice up there. Not like New York City. Lucid Air saying mostly the Lucids are in Scottsdale. I get up there, I just don't see them. And Todd has not yet to have seen a Lucid in Michigan. So yeah, so for me the one I've seen the most is probably Polestar, followed by Rivian, and plenty of Mach-E's, Hyundai Ioniq 5s. I've seen only a small handful. I think I've seen more EV6s, Kia EV6, than I have of the Ioniqs. But we got a decent amount of people on. Let's just quickly recap the stock price for the end of the week. Lucid closed at 1403, down 28 cents yesterday, as everything is being sold off with the fears of recession and inflation and all of those things coming up and hitting everybody really hard in the stock market, which is horrible, because I'm really ready for a reversal on that. Nikola also near all-time lows. They had a low of 382, which is phenomenally bad. So we're hoping to see a turnaround on that soon. But at that market cap of 1.69 billion, they're real close to a price where someone's going to look to buy them out. I'm not starting any rumors or anything, but with the value of Nikola being that low, but yet really much higher than that, they are in a position to be bought out by a company. And who would be a likely company to go after them? Probably Toyota. Toyota's got a lot of hydrogen technology already. Um, so it's possible that Toyota would like to get into something like that. Possibly. Who else? A big company like that? I'm really not sure. As far as a manufacturing company, um, maybe one of the big semi truck companies would be interested, just getting their technology and merging it with what they've already done already. You don't know. We'll have to see. Uh, Todd says, I have to see Financial Journey's logo sign. I made it for him. You know what? I briefly saw it the other day, and it was on my phone, so I really couldn't get a good look at it. But I looked like he had something cool going on there. So, so real quick before we get going, I want to show you the sadness of the day, and then I'll give you some good news. So, what happened was Riley was about a mile away from the Lucid factory, and he was at a stop sign. He stopped, and then he looked left, right, left, and then he went. But he did not see this Equinox that was coming down the road, which is a 55 mile per hour road. Uh, it's possible that there were some construction signs that may have blocked his vision, and he just didn't see him coming. It looked clear when it really wasn't. Um, so this is the view. That's Lucid right there. This is in the entire factory. There's a stamping plant right there. You can see that rising up. But he got hit in the side, T-boned pretty good. You can see that the quarter panel sail pan part has crumpled. So has the roof up there. And that's an inside look of the dash. You can see the dash is broken. There's another picture of it that will be coming up in a little bit. That will show you more. Airbag came down, the side airbag, and so did the seat airbag popped out. So this door is absolutely wasted. There's nothing left of that. You can see it actually pierced through the door, pushed the door panel into his leg. His leg hit the steering column pretty hard. He had a pretty big bump on it, which has started to go down, and then he got hit with glass, and he's got a couple cuts on his leg from the broken glass. Other than that, Riley is okay. You can see the damage to the front fender. The A-pillar is damaged. The windshield is broken. Over here you can see all the damage with going into from the quarter panel right here, right up here, the roof. The door obviously smashed in. So I submitted this to insurance, and right away they came back and said this is most likely a total, which is unfortunate, but it also is fortunate because I'd rather have the car replaced, paid off and replaced in a couple of weeks than wait the 3 or 4 months it would take to repair this. This is the inside. You can see how the dashboard was smushed in, and it is broken. So he was very lucky. Any more damage, any further impact, and his leg might have been crushed. So yeah, more than likely it's a total. I haven't gotten the confirmation that it is, but it will be a total more than likely. So on to the video, the things that you guys might care about, unless you got any comments about that before we get to that. So yes, Riley is okay. I picked him up after the accident, and then he had gotten a ride over to Lucid from the police that showed up. They gave him a ride a mile down the street. He went and did the flyover that we're about to watch, and then I picked him up. So you guys, please understand, we had some issues with the drone this morning. Our remote for it, we have 2 remotes, one that came with it and one especially expensive. It was like a $900 remote, and that one was getting cooked by the cord. We had a problem with the charging cable. When Riley pulled it off, it burned his hand. So that remote was not working this morning. Therefore, we went back to the stock one, and the zoom is a lot choppier. So I hope you guys understand when you see some of the. We don't have the great zooms, but we have it kind of. You'll see it. It's very snappy, and it's not like the smooth zoom that we normally have. So forgive us, of course. Of course, Riley just also had a life and death experience about 30 minutes before this flight, but he was still there for you guys. So everyone, please say thank you to Riley, because he deserves it. I forgot the volume. There we go. Sorry about that. William Mineham says Freightliner. Freightliner is definitely a possibility if they were interested. Raj Paul says he saw a red Lucid Air last week in Palatine, Illinois. That's the color that we have on order, is a red one. Lucid says Iveco should buy them out. JJ says Toyota. William says Rivian should buy them out. Let's see. And Todd says he actually has a logo for me also. We had a logo made for Twitter that was custom, and Riley likes to make logos also. I'd be interested in using it or looking at it, but I wouldn't use it without your permission, of course. As you can see, we're flying over. We're headed south, and well, we passed it, but we'll go back to it. The tunnel is complete as far as the structure. You can see it's going to be one level. I was curious as to that when they first built this out, but it looks like it's going to come down here and go down and then back up. It looks like the direction it's going into. The rubber membrane for the roof is probably 60% complete on this building right here. You can see there's a lot of materials still over in the future parking lots. And they've done some more paving down on this end, and it looks like they're still headed further north. They've got the paving, that looks like the paving equipment still out there, and it looks like they started this section right here and stopped. You can see, we'll pause this for a second. You can see down here, this is Thornton Road, and you can see the progress on there. They've got some of the curbing put in all the way down. This is where there's going to be turn-ins for the Lucid factory for the employees. More than likely, there'll be some sort of security shack at each one of these. Can't say for sure that there will be, but I think they're probably going to want to control access to the employee lot a little bit better than nothing. But you can see they are making progress on Thornton Road. Yes, Cadillac Jack, I am also glad his leg was not injured worse. It really was close. He was supposed to take a different car this morning. It was an older car. He didn't take it because there was no gas in it, and he was up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, so he opted to take the Challenger, which was the only two cars we had available. Everything else was out on rental. If he had taken the other car, I think his injuries would have been much more severe because he would not have had the side airbags that were in there. So it was fortunate that he killed the Challenger instead of a Fusion. And Olivia says Lucid has 4 updates to Dream Drive over the week. That is interesting, but yet almost concerning. If there were 4 separate ones, okay, maybe they should have been combined. If there were 4 updates updating the previous one, wouldn't you want to just send that out all at once? I wonder what they were for. All right, glad to see you guys are all thanking Riley. Lucinaire, thank you for the super chat. Touring in silver coming soon. Tell your friends. Yes, that is what Lucinaire has on order, is a touring, and it is silver. As you can see, there are employees out in the lot today. There are a decent amount. The construction is not as much as normally during the week, but that's a decent amount of employees for the for Lucid, and it is a Saturday. Their production is definitely ramping up. Lucid, I do appreciate that super chat. We're going to put that towards a deductible on the Challenger, because might as well. Olivia says there are 4 different features. Okay. It's interesting that they would not combine those together. There you can see the stamping building. I took some pictures of that. Oh, let's see if I can find those for you on my phone when I was there today. See if I could do this without messing up the stream, and see if I could show you that from ground level, because they do look a lot bigger. We'll get those pictures up in a little bit. You see the snappiness there? Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, they got a lot of cars. I'm going to pause this real quick. Those are a lot of covered cars, and this is a Saturday morning. This was, geez, what time was it? Um, must have been 8, 9 o'clock. I don't even remember at this point. Lost track of time this morning. Um, it was probably about 10 o'clock now that I get my numbers straight in my head. 3 car haulers are here. When I was driving down there to pick up Riley, I passed a car hauler on the I-10 headed west, and he was fully loaded with 6 Lucid Airs. So they had at least 4 car haulers there today pulling cars out. They are coming in and they are going out. So that is good news. Up top, as we move up, we saw a couple things of interest. Here we have a white car with a white roof. Another white car with a white roof. Up top over here, you can't really see it that well, but there is another white car with a white roof. They've had one that they've parked over here. It almost looks like a car that they're using for testing or for deliveries or just something that they've had moving around here from time to time. And that could be that same car. Then we've got these 2 cars right here. Let's take a zoom in on those and see if we can notice anything different or anything special. Now this car right here doesn't have, I don't see the silver trim. You see the silver trim on every one of these cars? And I did look at all these other cars. This was the only other one I found here. That looks like a black, or who knows, maybe red car, but without the silver trim. Just like these cars don't have the silver trim. So that might be a 4th Pure right there. If we zoom in on the cars over here, you can see none of them have the same roof. And these 3 are also sequestered by themselves. Unlike all these other cars, they're not just thrown into the mix. By the way, that looks like another fence was put up right there between these cars. Very interesting. Like they're separating the cars like that. I don't know if what that means. I could only make a bunch of guesses. It's possible that that middle car could be stealth car also. Let's take another look. No, it cannot be because of the wheels. The wheels are not black. So that would have to be a non-stealth car. But it does not have any of the silver trim. Yes, I just said that right when you posted it. Let's see, Olivia says, I saw an article saying Lucid is producing Pures for beta. It's very possible. But we have seen Pures before, or cars that look like Pures, and this just looks like more of them. But we do see a lot of cars waiting to get shipped out, and that's 18 cars that can go out right there. We know another 6 left the site earlier in the day. It's possible that it could be a touring with the option to not have the glass roof if they're going to make those early. Don't know if they're switching over to the solid roof now, because when I've looked on it, last time I looked, the touring has an option for a solid roof, but not available yet. There's their little test track, which is going to be replaced probably by a larger test track in some of the land that they bought. Hey, you see the snappiness of our zoom going on. And like I said, apologies to all for that. I'm going to, as you guys watch that, I'm going to grab a couple pictures of the stamping building, so you guys can see that, and I'll put those up here in a minute. This is the stamping building from ground level. It looks a lot bigger than it does, and even in the pictures it looks smaller. It's kind of weird like that. I'm going to pause it right here. Here's the stamping building. Let's take a look at it from ground level if we can. So I took 3 pictures of it. Let's go big on this, or let's go full screen. This is just from the ground. It doesn't look all that big there, but you can see how it towers over the building behind it. And from my understanding, that building is about 90 feet tall. It looks a whole lot taller in real life than it does from the ground. But it is a decent sized building, and I just thought I'd give you that new perspective that you usually don't get from ground level. As we're heading south, you can see on the right-hand side, the construction worker parking lot is coming up. It is got workers there. It's not full like it is during the week, but there are still quite a few people there. Plus, there are people parked in different areas. The work trucks actually will come inside and park if they have equipment and things like that on it. But you can see we have trucks coming in. We've got our makeshift concrete factory right up top there. That's something that we saw before I went on vacation. They had the parts for it, but you can see they're getting stacks of different types of materials. So they are starting to make concrete on site right there. Olivia says, looks like those internal changes are working. Those people that got fired wasn't doing the job and should have been fired a while ago. Yeah, it does seem like some positive changes were made with the firings or the releasing or the quitting, whatever happened. I don't know whether they were fired or they quit or they just didn't like the way things were going to be structured. I'm not sure how it specifically tied into these people leaving and suddenly we could ramp up. Were these the people that were screaming for higher quality and they just said, well, we got to get these cars out, let's fix it later? I don't know what the real story is, and we will probably never know. Marbat wants to know why Lucid stock is taking a bashing. Well, because everything is. Everything is. There's very few exceptions to that everything. I'm sure there are some. But yes, it is the Fed raising rates and fears of inflation and all the things that goes along with that. All right, so here we are headed back. We can see that stamping building. The body in white is on the left. And as you can see, that building, it looks like its main structure is complete. The stamping building still has a decent amount of area to go. There's also another spot on that next to the stamping building. Let's see if we could find that real quick. Zipping back through here. There's another building hidden right here. You guys can see this. This came up a couple weeks ago. They started working on that. I'm not sure if this ultimately will connect to the stamping building or not. I need to revisit the site plans and take a look, but you can see they have a structure over there. Should probably take a look at some point and see what that is. We're going to go ahead and restart the video. So if you guys got any questions or comments, you throw it out now and we can chit chat about it. Dimbag 420, interesting name, probably has been asked before, but has there been any news on when these buildings will be completed? Early 2023, quarter one 2023, they plan to have this done, and right now everything appears to be on schedule. And Tyrell says that's an increased cup size. There are several cup buildings, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure what cup stands for, though. I believe that the U is utility. Maybe central utility porthole plant, something. But there are several cup buildings, and that would be one of them, possibly, without me looking for the site plans. And someone says, whose name the LT Prod. Some stocks have gotten a way worse bashing. That is true. Nikola would be one of them. Lucid Air too. I think next earnings report will be Lucid's best ever. Yes, I do. I think they've put out more cars this quarter now than they've put out in their first 3 production quarters. So I don't see how it could not be their best. The bar is pretty low. Not to be negative, but the bar is very low. So it shouldn't be that hard to have the best one ever. Let's see. A-Track asks, can you increase the size of the flyover or reduce your video and Lucid logo or lay it over the flyover video? Okay, I see what you're saying. Well, we have that there so that when people borrow our content, people know where it came from. We put a lot of time, effort, and apparently vehicles into getting these videos. And we hate it when people take our content and do not give us credit for it. If that's what you're talking about, A-Track. Are there some foundation work between the original body and white building and the new body and white building? I thought they were connected structure. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Let's do a little bit of research on this and see if I can find these plans easily. Just give me a second and I'll see what I can find for these plans. The body and white building has completely changed shape from the plans that I have. They were originally supposed to be connected and it kind of looked like an L, but no longer. Actually, these are older plans. Let me see if I can find the more current ones. Yeah, let's try another one. The plans I got, there were just so many of them. So the original plan showed these two buildings connected with this one coming out here. Let's just look at this for a second and I'll see if I could find the other plans. They're never easy to find. Nope, that's not it either. Well, I'm still looking for these. Is that it? Yeah, it does look like the plans have changed. Let me bring this up on this screen here. So here's what we're looking at. This is the body and white building. Let's go a little bigger. This is the body and white building, the work in progress between it and the stamping line right here. Now, if we flip back and forth and see what we're looking at here, this looks very different from what we're looking at. We see the stamping building right here, small rectangular shape that does look like that. Then we'll have a connection right here, but the body in white is not connecting to the body in white number one. It might going forward in the future. We're going to have to see, and that is cup number 2. Anybody know what the cup stands for? Someone posted and I missed it, but I really want to know what it stands for. We go back to this. See, this is the empty space that we're looking at here, and whether or not there's going to be anything put in here. It looks like it's possible that there might be pilings in here. Can't say for sure. Let's go back a little bit. There we go. Let's take a good look. These look like there are pilings. Can't say for right here. We'd have to really go through videos and see if they put pilings in right next to this building. But this looks like the amount of space halfway. Put in another column right here and then connect these buildings. So that was a good question, whoever asked that. It's already gone so far behind I forgot who asked that. But it does look like they can be connected and possibly will. We'll have to wait to see if they start putting walls up in this area right here. I know the stamping line is looking just like this, and then it could easily connect to another building, and there's the cut building. And possibly FB number 2, which I don't know what an FB is either. And regarding that accident, I just want to make sure that the other car, the occupants of that car, they were not injured. Let's see. Central utility plant, Olivia says. Okay. We've seen those structures also at Nikola. They had I was just calling a utility room, but I guess you'd call it a central utility plant. When they did the first phase, they had one of those on the northwest side, and it looks like there's 2 of them on the east side of the phase that they're in now. Lucid, with a much bigger factory, has more of those buildings. Let's see. Again, here's a picture of the cars. Let's see. Boaz says factory in the States is just costly. It can be costly. You can get a lot of kickbacks for taxes by putting them in. There are advantages, even though you're going to pay your workers more. Your transportation is going to be cheaper. There are ways to save money. Quality may also be better because you have the people who care about the quality are there, and they can check on it more often as opposed to flying across the world. Is it easy to drive by the plant? No, it's not. As a matter of fact, if the road wasn't demolished right now, we wouldn't have had our accident because we would have been coming from a different direction. Boaz says, better and cheaper workers, faster and better production line. Well, yes and no. You can't really say that it's going to be better. Better is an opinion. Cheaper, yes. I would definitely agree that they're cheaper. Ford is able to produce an F-150 about every 60 seconds. It's actually, I think it's less than that. So you're not going to get a faster or a better production line just because you're using people from another country. That does not mean that. Let's see, and Olivia says, how's the heat there? Don't know how the workers do it. Oh, we're entering a bit of a cold spell. Pretty chilly here now. Wait, I don't want to do that. I'm going to tell you what the temperature is. We're going to minimize that, put that back up. Current temperature, it's only 100 degrees. So we are cooling off. We probably broke out our jackets last week. So we're cooling off. We're in that time of year. So we get happy when it only gets to 100 degrees. 230, 100 degrees. It looks like we're not topping off on that. In case you guys missed it before, there's the mini concrete plant up in the top of the screen right now. And going bye-bye. SKD, semi-knockdown building, that disassembly for shipping. Those are when they're shipping cars overseas. They take some of the things off for whatever reasons that they need to. BIW is body in white. Cup is their power, computer, and electric building. PA is paint. John, let's go. Lucid says Cup, central utility plant. JJ says cold spell at 100. Yeah. Got my jacket and everything. I had to put on my boots, my waterproof boots, because we had a cloud. You never know when it's going to rain. Dave is continuing with the definitions of everything. GA is General Assembly. ASRS, Automated Storage and Retrieval Systems. So there's been some debate on WIP. Does it mean work in progress, or does it actually mean something else? I've been told that it's work in progress, not like things that they're working on, but like parts that they have that are waiting to be used, almost like a warehouse. Well, I'm not kidding, Todd. It's cooling off. 100 degrees is cooling off. JJ says he's starting to think those scientist clowns may be right about global warming. This is normal weather for us. We're not any warmer or any cooler than we ever have been. Our all-time record, I think, is 122, and we got that in 1990. So it's been 32 years since we had a all-time record high. I think we hit 121 since then. But just saying, once you're acclimated after 30 years of being in this heat, you kind of get used to it. All right. Well, we've been going about 36 minutes. I want to thank all of you guys who showed up. We're going to end this here in a couple minutes, unless anybody has any other questions, comments, complaints. If you want to see the car wrecked again, you got to go to the beginning of the video. And like I said, you can leave me some tears in the comments. Let's see, Dave M says those definitions are straight from Joseph Horn. Dave, I did not see you put in WIP anywhere. What is the border of the Lucid land? Why are they using only the east part of the land? JJ, yes. A-Track, they're only using the east part of the land because they're working their way west. The next phase is this entire area that you see on the screen right now. This whole area is their phase 3, and this will be the next place where they will be doing construction. So that is why. The entire land area encompasses a lot more acres, hundreds, if not a few, I forget the number what it is, but they bought up a lot of, well, they didn't buy it up, they're leasing the land from the powers that be, and they are going to have a much larger area. Their footprint out here is going to be enormous. I don't see them having a need for, I don't understand actually why this factory is not going to be able to have a higher production capacity, being that its size and how much, well, they have more land, but they haven't put any plans out for additional factory space. But I've been told that there's a good chance that some of the additional land is going to have a test track in it. So we might be seeing that across the street on Thornton Road. The LT Prod, I don't understand why Lucid and Apple haven't made a deal yet. It's probably because Apple is never going to make a car. No, I don't know if they're never going to make a car, but I don't know how serious of a venture it is for them. They've gone at it seriously, and then they've lost some of the key people, and you know, that's what it is. Just not sure. Apple's gone supposedly to several different car companies, and they have not been happy with them. Dave says that's all that was shared with him as far as the acronyms, and that's good enough. Thank you for that. William says there's a lot to be said for Asian work ethic. If you actually care about what you do, then you'll do it better. That goes for all countries or ethnicities. Not a fan of that word because I can't say it. That is true. China's a little different because China is an authoritarian country, and they can treat their people a little bit different than we will in this country. As far as labor laws are going to be less strict over there, and therefore that's going to decrease costs because more labor laws mean that there's more protection for the workers. More protection means more protection, more money, more safeguards, raises costs for workers here, and that's what makes things cost a little bit more. And you don't hear too many reports about child labor issues in the United States. You hear them in other countries like China. So don't want to get all political, but facts are facts. Can Lucid take over Ford EV sales? Not right now. I think Ford is going to be doing a lot better on their EV sales than Lucid right now. I think Ford has a whole lot more experience in production. So as long as they don't have supply issues, which they are, but so is Lucid. I think Ford is going to be ahead of Lucid for a while. I also think Ford has more products. They have 3 products right now. They've got the Lightning, the Mach-E, and the Ford Transit van. So they are able to put out 3 different products. And Lucinaire says, thanks for the hard work, Bear and Riley. Jimbag says, first time watching it live, but I always watch. Appreciate what you do. Thank you. Okay, I don't understand Cadillac Jack's comment, but we'll just go past that. Thank you very much for your efforts. Apple and Lucid or Tesla could be working on a product that is being kept a secret for competitive purposes. That's a possibility, but I think there's something that was said. I don't remember who said it. It might be Financial Journey, about if you are asked if there is a something in the works that you have to admit it if you're like an executive. If you're asked by someone from the press, you can't lie about it and say no when there is. Todd thinks that Lucid and Apple will do something. Micah says Apple wanted to acquire the motor company instead of partnership as they hold over $300 billion in cash. That's why those talks didn't progress. Well, Apple has the ability to just, well, they can't buy Lucid because 60% of it is owned by the Saudis. So I guess that would be a problem. But they could buy out the Saudis if they really wanted to. But I don't think the Saudis need the money that much. A-Track. Thank you very much for your efforts and quality work. Is there plans to upgrade the camera in the drone? Yeah, no, as iMelt says, it's 4K quality and can zoom 4 miles. It's one of the latest ones out there. The only thing that we could do is buy a $20,000 drone. This one, as it was $4,000. We're not upgrading anything anytime soon. So you guys also better hope we don't crash it and lose it, because we're not buying another one. All right, I bought the insurance for it so we can crash 3 times, 2 times, and then lose it. JJ, factory tour more likely? No. That's never going to happen. JJ also has Lucid soften their stance on you or not. Lucid has not spoken to me in any way, shape, or form in a very long time. And I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. Not only has Lucid not formally said anything to me, but they have not. I have not heard a peep from anyone who works in construction. Not heard a peep from anyone who works in the factory in a very long time. Whatever they've done to silence them is very effective. They should know that. Good job. Comment was regarding different culture, work ethic. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying, Cal. Like regarding, yes, okay, that makes sense. Sometimes when there's 18 different conversations going on in the chat as I'm reading them, it's kind of hard to see which one goes to what. Lucinaire says they said once expansion opens, they might open the factory, but just what I hear. Yeah, I wonder if I get stopped at the gate. Maybe they'd want to search me or something. John Let's Go Lucid said it's not 300 billion, but 170 billion, and they don't want to run a factory. If they wanted, they could buy one already for a 2025 release. It's true. Yeah. Just like they don't have factories in China. They have Foxconn make their phones. They don't want to have to worry about that. They want to assign that job to somebody and then move on. William Minehan says there's child labor in the United States at the Hyundai plant. You know, I did hear some about that. I don't know exactly what that was, but I'm sure something happened that shouldn't have happened. I mean, honestly, if I can get my 16-year-old boy to get a job somewhere that required him to be like, yeah, I'd do it. I got a 14-year-old girl. I'd put her to work in a heartbeat. So, you know, you just got to not get caught. I guess that's what it comes down to, right? Let's see. Lucinaire says Lucid watches everything there. Yes, I know that they do. I've had people tell me, people who work there used to tell me that. Fly the drone into AMP1. Don't worry about crashing. You have insurance. Make sure you stream it. Sounds like a good idea. All right, we're gonna probably head out of here because I started saying goodbye like 10 minutes ago. JJ says need more Ultra Bear Patreons to upgrade the drone. Yep, that one hurt. Peter R. at Lucid probably is watching your videos to get better awareness in construction. That's fine if they do. I mean, it gives them a nice overview. In Marbot, that's never happening. Lucid's not going to invite me in. Not now, not ever. Let's see. We will soon see if contracting a factory while you build one like Fisker did was the right way. Yeah, I'm not going into marketing. I'm not a marketing guy. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up here, guys. I want to thank all of you, including JJ, for being here today. Thanks for watching with me. You guys get any other questions, comments, throw it in the chat. If it's directed at me, I'll try and answer it if I can. If it's not, well, whatever. It's there. But I want to thank everyone for watching. All right.